round 2.
So on to round 2, I have the pick after that. And, I'm looking around, and I think this might be a pick that could shock some people. Maybe I could have let him hang around and just snuck in and grabbed
I know
him.
who you're gonna pick.
And I could potentially have grabbed him in the 3rd, but when you're drafting, you want to get your guy. And I'm gonna go with Jose Trevino
That would
because
have been my
Good
pick.
pick.
Jose Trevino, I can't sing this praise for him enough, and I said this to you guys before we got on the air. I think, obviously Matt Blake, good pick. I'll agree with you, good pick. But I just wasn't aware of the rules. You create the game, you can my ball, my rules. That's fine.
I mean, it's not a competition. We're just here to all be happy about the Yankees.
I know, but I'm just saying. Obviously, the starting pitching has been the glue. If you're going to pick one thing in this draft that was not a player or a coach or anything like that, just one position, starting pitching versus the batting order versus the relievers, all that, coaches, I'm going to pick the starting pitching. And the reason we're so successful is the starting pitching, how dominant they've been. And just going deep into games like no one else has done in the last 2 years. I think Matt Blake obviously is a big piece of that. Obviously, the players are a big piece of that as well. And this is what I've been calling for the longest time. And this is why I have hated Gary Sanchez so much. And sorry to the Gary supporters for bringing up his name again, but I'm not sorry whatsoever. Because I've been saying it for the longest time. I don't care if we bring in a defensive wizard behind the dish that is an automatic out. That I would not give a shit if we had that. And we have the defensive wizard, and he's not an automatic out. And he very well could have been, and he may be the all-star starting catcher, him or Alejandro Kirk.
Find him a holiday, he's going to walk it off.
Find him at a holiday, find him a kid's birthday, find him his dad's birthday. He's going to walk it off. It's just, it's unbelievable. And it's a spot where we didn't really have that was a big vacant spot after the Gary injury. And I almost feel weird talking about this in the past tense as if the season's over, because this feels like a conversation that we could be having when the season's over. But I think even if, and I don't think this is the case, I think his offense will continue to be this good. But I'm saying even if it's not this good, this is what I've been saying about the catcher position the whole time. If it's a bad offensive spot and you get the defensive wizardry that you're going to get out of him, and that's going to stay. That's not a streaky thing. Baseball's a streaky game. It's a fickle bitch, but the defense is going to stay and it's not going to waver. He's that guy. He's always been that guy. So I'm saying even if he regresses back to the mean and what he's been doing for his entire career offensively, that's perfectly fine with me to be the everyday starter and to be more than okay because of the way he handles the pitching staff. And I posted that video of him just stealing strikes, and we talk about it all the time. His framing is the best in the league, but you see it on an everyday basis. And when you see that highlight reel of Saturday with him and Tyone just tossing the thing, we got a pitcher who's going to toss that thing, and we got a catcher who's going to receive that thing, and he's stealing strikes. I mean,
Jameis Winston,
he's literally stealing strikes, and it's art to watch. And I said this in the captions, like I can't stress enough how important this is, and I think that's a long-winded way of telling y'all why that I think this is easily the 2-1. But I think that was worth talking about because I think, and this is the whole reason why we're doing this draft, is to bring up this in a creative way. And I think this is just, I don't know. I think the way that he has been, I think it's a huge X factor. And you could honestly, of the 2 picks that I've selected in this fun little draft, I think you can make the argument that Jose Trevino is more important to this team than Nestor, because not on an individual like this, and that's why this draft is fun, because it's not WAR. We're not looking at just WAR, which I actually think his WAR is very high. I haven't looked, but I think off the top of my head is. But in an area of need, Jose Trevino fills a gap that we thought didn't exist, and it makes us even that much more complete. And like I said, Nestor Cortez is in a loaded pitching staff. If you picked one, like I said before, they're the pick you're taking at, like the one group: closers, starters, hitters. Nestor, if he wasn't there, and obviously Nestor is probably having the better year, but other guys are going to pick up the slack in that spot. Tyone, Montgomery, other potential picks in this. Garrett Cole hasn't even been picked yet. Those guys are, I just think the area of need is one big thing, and him receiving the rest of the pitching staff is just, it's different. It's different. And I think I've seen Gary get crossed up on way too many times, and I'm very happy I never have to see that happen again from a catcher. So,
Good pick.
Okay.
is that enough explanation for?
It was more than enough. I would like
No,
to
keep going.
before Murph goes. I would like to say, to defend myself, because I didn't even get to, and you keep bringing it up. A couple things on Matt
does?
Blake. You brought up 4 times in 4 picks. I picked it second overall. You could have easily picked, like, there's plenty of time for you to still come up with something. And 2, I didn't pick something egregious like the hot dog at the stadium or something. Like, I think that's a very
damn good
the
dog.
starting,
though.
or the starting rotation.
And on top of that, you can't have
That would have been different.
You can't have, I didn't pick a group of players, like the infield. Like, yeah, you can't have too many good things in a museum.
short
brother.
porch.
Yankees catchers.
The locker room.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Now.
that would be a good pick.
Murph,
Hold that one up your.
you actually can, I will allow that.
Hold that one in
it's
your
a
back
gut feel.
pocket.
Just whatever you got. Fire away.
No.
I'll
I don't
totally
know if
take
I'm
the
gonna go with
locker
the
room.
locker room. If someone wants to take the locker room, then whatever. I'm
We,
gonna
will
take-
we can rattle off some honorable
Yeah,
mentions when we're
go
done.
for it,
Sure.
Murph.
Put that as an honorable mention. I'm gonna take somebody off the board a little earlier than like Rella did. Go get your guy, whatever. I was planning on taking Cole here because I thought, he'd last this long. And congratulations, Chandler. You can take Cole, but I'm gonna take JMO.
Wow, you just flipped the script on me. I thought you were saying you were going to take Cole, but you didn't.
I like
No,
that.
I'm taking JMO, and it's just because Cole, I think, is doing what he's paid to do, what he's expected to do. And when JMO came in, we didn't know how healthy he was going to be and how effective he was going to be, even if he was healthy. And he has been outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pitched, not updated because obviously it changed after today because Cole threw. But before today, he had the most innings pitched in the starting rotation.
That's
and
interesting.
he's 8-1.
Good
so
stat.
like,
I was gonna
between
take
those
him
two-
next, actually, for
well then,
it was a good
I
pick.
apologize.
No, I'm saying
I
that's a
think
good pick.
that
You were
he's-
saying you thought it was a stretch. I was letting you know it's a good pick.
I appreciate that.
You're
But,
welcome.
Yeah. I think the big thing is that, he's 8-1, which you can say that, Domingo had 17 wins a couple years ago and the Yankees are slugging, so like fine. But he also has, I don't know what his ERA is, top of my head. 140 ERA plus, so that's great. Whatever. But the 73.1 innings is a big thing. Like he's healthy and he's dealing.
He's giving us length,
And
which is the biggest. I mean, we had a lot of people go down in the bullpen, which, again, credit to Matt Blake. As you were saying, he's getting our pitchers to get some length. We're getting things that we haven't gotten in years from the staff, from the bullpen, everything. Absolutely love that pick, Murph.
And I think we were kind of talking about this off air about this draft is like, is this just going to be your MVP draft? Because obviously you take the guys with like the highest WAR, and that's no fun. But like also like get your guy. I mean, I just think it's a lot of the expectation versus reality, like you were talking about before, Murph. Is that did you really think? And I think you touched on that already with Cole. You expected to go out there and do what you're paid to do, and I think the extra benefit we're getting from the team as a whole, as we expect these guys to do these things, if they're going to go out and do that thing, Garrett Cole deal like he did today, and Tyone can come in and be this guy that like Tyone has been a legitimate 2 starter on this team. I think if the season ended today, is that unfair to say that I would like? It's a real conversation between him and Nestor to be the 2. I mean, Tyone's been.
Sevy.
I would take
That's
I would
the
take
thing.
Tyone over Sevy.
We've got 1-1 who is
I
Garrett
think
Cole.
it would.
I think we have one, and the reason that this is such a good rotation is that we have a 1. We have Garrett Cole. He's an ace. And then we have like 2.
We have 3 twos.
And 2. Yeah, you could say 2 2s,
Yeah.
2 3s, or 3 2s and 1, whatever. However you want to put that. Like nobody's a 4. And
We have
nobody's a
4
5.
2.5s.
That's the point.
And I
Yes.
think I don't know if
that
you're
one.
I don't know if you're specifically what you're calling Monty, but I feel like
He's a good
Monty-
3.
a
Monty,
very good 3.
Yeah.
He's a top flight 3, I think.
agree.
I agree.
Is a fun way
And I
to
would
put
say
that.
if you rank him that way, then he's the lowest of that tier. Like nobody, not by much, and that's not a slight at Monty, but nobody is below a mid 3.
Yeah.
He's a high 3. Sevy's a high 3 to low 2. Nestor's.
I would say Sevy's a high 2.
Then say Sevy's a high 2, but so is Nestor, and then so is
Nestor
Tyone.
could be a 1. I think you can make the argument. Never mind.
I don't know.
I think 1 we reserve to be ace. Aces are 1s. That's
Can't
Scherzer.
just-
true
That's
bona fide
Scherzer,
ace.
DeGrom. That's Cole. That's Corbin Burns. That's those guys. Sorry if I missed your name. I don't know. but
To all the aces out
to
there
all the aces
listening,
out there.
the Logan Webbs of the world.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think you can make the argument for a lot of people to be the number 2 guy on this team because they all are number 2s. But I don't know. I've been extremely impressed. Great pick, Murph, with Tyone because I don't know. I just he's been great. I wanted to look into his numbers since he's joined the Yankees, and I'll look those up on the side while you guys are picking. But I can imagine that he's been since he's come to the Yankees via trade. I think he's been. I was gonna say as advertised, but he's been way massively better than advertised. I think I think
He's been what he was drafted to be.
Yeah,
exactly,
what
and
he
I think
was
that's
drafted to be, yes.
but that's way loftier of an expectation than what we had coming in.
We wanted a
post-trade
solid 3.
because he's a guy who just beat cancer. He's a guy who
Two
had
Tommy
Tommy
Johns.
Johns. Like you, as much as you pull for a guy, you can't expect what he's been doing, and he's really proven. I wouldn't even want to say proven wrong because I don't think anybody thought he wasn't gonna do something like this. It's hard to expect something like that from 2 injuries and 1 cancer. It can't it's crazy. It's just tip the fucking cap to him, and I cannot wait to see what he continues to do and if he can.
I'm excited to see him in
If he
October.
can twirl that thing in October, I was about to say. So
Yep.
All right. Everybody ready?
Yep. Let's hear it.
I'm not going to go Garrett Cole. I'm going to say big Anthony Tony Rizzo.
I was gonna pick him if you
That was
fell.
my next pick.
I mean, look at the guy. Everybody loves him. He's got handshakes with Joey Gallo. Him and, you got Jizzo. We were talking about Jizzo. They're best friends. Dude's on pace for 46 home runs. He's playing Gold Glove defense. He's got the walk-off home run the other night. Maybe it's recency bias. Maybe it's not, but he's got the walk-off home run. He came in. He had the big pin. He came in rocking glasses and a hoodie yesterday and then turned into, like we were saying, this team doesn't have any quit. He comes in off the bench cold in the 8th, hits a nuke. Boom. And then, the game comes down to him again in the 9th, and he doesn't get it done, but he puts up a damn good at bat, and he puts the ball in play. How many times in years past have we had that same situation come up, and, you get down in the count, down 0-2, 1-2, whatever it was, and it's just a strikeout. We've been talking about all year his approach to the plate. He takes an actual pro approach, and he's choking up on the bat. He's putting the ball in play. He's doing the things that he has to do. I see you waving over there. Give me 1 second. He's doing the things that he has to do to score runs and to even making his outs productive outs. He's not just up there taking meaningless at bats. He's putting thought into it. He's doing something with every at bat, something productive, even if it's an out.
Mm-hmm.
Go, Murph.
I just wanted to mention this before we got off track from his approach because I know there's a lot of other things to mention about him. But if you watch his home run today, 2-2 count, first at bat of the game, and he's choked up about halfway on the bat, and he still hits it out.
Yeah.
Like that's something that not a lot of people do in the MLB anymore, and that's something that
That's something that they
too
tell
strict
you
approach, too
as
strict hitting.
as a kid, your home runs, and obviously this changes, and this isn't the fucking approach as a pro baseball player. I know that, but I'm saying there's a reason. There's some truth to it when you're growing up and you're learning how to play baseball, and you're going through the different stages. That you have coaches that are like, yeah, your home runs should be mistakes. To some degree, that's true. He knows when to take his lashes and stuff like that. But the ball today that he's choked up, he's not trying to hit a home run there. He's trying to do a job with 2 strikes and put the ball in play and hit it somewhere hard. That's just something you got to respect from the guy. And that's a point I made last summer when the name loosely went around the rumor mill. We were like, surely we're not going to get Anthony Rizzo. Why would we get Anthony Rizzo? Mm-hmm. It was a 19-pitch at bat that ended in a choked up home run against the Cardinals to take the lead. And I will never forget watching that at bat. I was like, holy shit, man. This is something that this team could desperately need, especially last year, to jumpstart an offense that they weren't seeing pitches. They weren't taking competitive at bats. It was, 2-3 pitches, lazy balls in play, ugly strikeouts. This is a guy that he changes the entire approach to that lineup just by having other people around him watching him what he's doing. I don't know. He changed the whole dynamic of the team. You got a guy on second base rather than a strikeout or a pop-up. You have a guy that's willing to put it on the ground, move him to third. And that's the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but he does it night in and night out.
Yep.
And when you see a guy doing it successfully, it sends a message to the rest of the order as well.
Yep. Well, one thing I do want to say too is that I was gonna pick him next if you didn't pick him right there.
Too bad, bitch.
And one of the main reasons that I want to pick him, because especially this draft is supposed to be like X factors for the season so far, so he was really the like main driving force of the momentum that we gained in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like he really was the guy who set the tone right from the beginning. Like he was on fire in the beginning of the season. He was the Yankees offense. He was winning us games single-handedly. He was carrying the team both on the field and off the field. Like he was the guy on the Yankees for the first month. And that set the tone for I think the rest of the season so far. And I think that's just like one of those things that I guess is not gonna go overlooked, but I guess
When you're
like,
playing the way you are now, it gets buried.
it gets buried to see like, okay, this guy really like helped us start the season hot and now is getting us to where we are today and now is still helping.
That's why when he went through that slump and he made the not list, and I was one of the people that advocated for him to be on the not list, and did he deserve it at the time? Yes. Stat-wise, he did. But even then, and we talked about it at that time, I don't think that's going to last. It's not. He's one of our hottest hitters right now. We all said it. We don't think this is going to last. He's too good, and his approach at the plate is too good to hit that poorly. So, and even then, he's still having those productive outs, and at the end of the day, he's still playing that platinum glove defense. Every day, regardless of how his bat is that particular day, and regardless of what it shows up on the stat sheet, he's doing something productive to help the team. There's no day that he shows up to the ballpark and it's like, well, that was a fucking waste of space. Like, and I'm going to use Aaron Hicks here. And I know he had a great, the triple that he pimped off the wall today.
You gonna pick him in this draft?
Fuck no, I'm not going to pick him in this draft. But I mean, he's had some big moments in the last couple of weeks. Yes, he's still on the sun for anybody wondering, and he's not coming off anytime soon. But like, there's days where, and like I said, I'm just using Aaron Hicks. He's top of that. There's days that he shows up and he provides fucking nothing. He's making dumb outs on the bases. He's not putting up productive at bats. He's not playing well in the field. He's loafing to balls. He's lobbing it in. There's no days off like that for Rizzo. And you can say that for some people in Major League Baseball, but not a lot where there's not a play that he takes off. Everything is balls to the wall. I don't know. I love that guy, and I think that he is a huge, huge driving force to this team.
Yeah.
8 home runs in March or in June.
Is that good?
I believe that is good.
Yeah,
Also-
no, it's crazy to look up. He has 19 home runs right
He
now.
hit 7 in
Yeah.
April.
Yeah, seven in April and half a month basically. Well, not half, but and then
3 quarters.
8 this month. I would venture to say that with the exception of maybe some of the really old guys that are still active in the MLB, there's probably not anybody more respected than Anthony Rizzo.
I would agree
Yeah.
with that.
Major League Baseball, like with the exception of Miggy, Pujols,
He does everything
basically
right.
those two. Like I feel like he's just that guy. Like they still love him in Chicago. My buddy was here today from Chicago telling me that still a bar outside Chicago called Rizzo's, and I don't know whether
You
he
remember
knows
when
it
he
or not.
left
They
Chicago? They
still
lined
love him.
the streets
Yeah.
for him to wish him
Mhm.
goodbye.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And,
Like,
they
They
still
love that guy.
They still do.
How could
Yeah.
you not, man? He
Yeah.
stuck through the shit in Chicago to win a World Series there.
Yeah, and that too. He's everything about him. He's a lovable guy. This, that, the third. But he also
Another cancer
won a
survivor.
another cancer survivor too.
Yeah.
But he also won a World Series too. So like you get the game, the accolade respect for somebody like that. Like say what you want about Mike Trout being such a great player, but some people, Mike Trout haters, would be like, oh, he never won a ring or he's played like one playoff game, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like he's got it all. He's
Got
full
the big
package,
game pedigree.
and he's
Yeah.
just
He'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer, probably not.
no. But is he a guy that can be the glue that brings an entire locker room together and creates potentially a championship team? Like that
Yes, he can.
that is more valuable to me right now than having another guy who's going to stuff the stat sheet on his own. I think
Yep.
that his impact to the team is well beyond the stat sheet.
Yep. I agree.
That's a quote graphic right there.
Damon,
you're up.
snake trap.
The
You
clock
got,
is on you.
you got 2, unless you want to do another a recap of the round.
I'm aware. Thank you.
So this is it, right? He's got 2, and then me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I got 2,
No,
and it's back to him.
me and Murph both have a pick.
Your last pick, buddy.
Oh shit.
Yeah, sit on the bench, pal.
That's how a snake draft works. I'm gonna go. Well, since I had 2 picks, this isn't really in order, but I'm gonna definitely go with Glaber.
You fucker.
I didn't think he was gonna go, and I was gonna be upset. So good pick.
Glaber is showing promising signs of his 2019 season. And right now he's got, we were kind of always like worried that he kind of lost his pop after that season. He only hit, 9 home runs in 2021. He hit, 9 home runs in 2021, and he hit 3 in 2020. Obviously a shortened season, and he hit 38 in 2019. So he's on pace to hit a little over 30 home runs this year. So he's kind of showing those signs in 2019, getting his pop back. He's hitting for pretty good average right now. He's been pretty solid in the field. He's been honestly pretty spectacular base running wise, and just like hustling and stealing bases, and just like overall being kind of like the Gleyber Torres that we were promised when he was originally came up. And yeah, I mean, like he was one of those guys in the beginning of the season where just like if he kind of pulls it together and if he starts having a better season, he starts getting his pop back, then it's really going to turn this whole lineup around, because that's another guy we can just trust. And just last thing on him is that he's been clutch as fuck this whole season. We've had 7 walk-offs so far. He's had 2 of them. And
he has the most since he's entered the league.
And he's had most since entered the league, and he just
in the entire MLB.
And he just has a lot of just like clutch hits that are not walk-offs too. Like he's just always coming up in the big spots, the big moments. And yeah, I can't say enough about him right now and the seasons he's having. And he's really just kind of been a huge part of this team so far, even though he's not, leading the stat sheet in all of these different categories in the team right now. But he's, again, showing signs of what he used to be, and it's just becoming, a big part of this lineup.
No, and this is the player, and I wanted to bring. I'm very upset because that's a very good pick, but it's very good that we bring it up because
that was my pick.
Glaber, it was gonna be all right. So I was never gonna get him, but regardless, I wanted to talk about him a ton, and I put this in the Slack to even just have a whole segment to talk about Glaber, because I do feel like we say all the time throughout this season specifically that because Glaber he wasn't really great last year. He hit 259, 243 the year before that 2020 shortened season. But, since 2019, he hasn't really been great, and he's had his ups and downs. He's showed lack of effort and this, that, and the third. Like, I think we've said it before this season, like, oh, we jokingly is Glaber back. I genuinely believe that he's back now to that 2019 form, and I think we talked about that in his roll call before the season started. It's like, are we ever going to get that guy back? And we all said I cannot, and we all said no.
We never said no to wrote him off, but we're like, he'll never return to 2019. Like he'll still be productive.
Especially with the pop, I think that's what we were more emphasizing. And he's on pace to hit 30
plus
4-ish home runs. I mean, give or take, whatever you want to call it. It's hard to do the math now because we're beyond the exact 1/3 points. You can't just multiply by 3, but he's got 13 home runs right now through 60 games played.
It does the math. It's like
34 to 36, whatever. But he's got the pop clearly. I mean, the last season, the big thing that we were talking about is his home runs. He had 9 home runs in 2021. And he had 3 home runs in 2020, shortened season. But that's ridiculously low compared to his 38 home runs in 2019 and his 24 home runs in 2018 as a rookie. I mean, it's ridiculous, but he's fully got the pop back. But I was never more so worried about the pop. We said this before, is like, are we going to just be watching this teammate quietly having a fantastic season? Are we going to look up and he just, one day he randomly has a 275 batting average? Because at the time, I think he was batting like 240 or something, which, like I said, is on par with his bad seasons. And he's batting 267 before today's game. I think he's probably over 270 now after today.
I think he had a hit or two today.
He's got his best OPS plus for his career, albeit it's 60 games right now, but he's got a 139 OPS plus even in 2019, he had a 128 OPS plus and 122 in his rookie year in 2018. He just, and the biggest thing for me too is he looks confident. He looks like he's back to being that swagger Gleyber, and I
looks
think
like he's having fun again.
and
too.
I think
he, doesn't look
needed
fucking miserable.
Yeah, and I think he needed a little bit of those lulls. Obviously, he's still 25. He's 25 right now. I'm 25. Like that's got a lot of life left in me, and I think he's got a lot of life left in him. I think it might be a little late for me to make my debut to the majors. Maybe not. We'll
It's
see.
never too late to
Never
follow
too
your
late
dreams.
today. I looked pretty good in Central Park, shagging some ground balls. Got a couple wows from some fellows in the field.
That's
but
not true.
I got one wow. But Gleyber,
It's like what
Gleyber
Eric,
Torres.
you remember when we had Eric on before the season? He was talking about, he needed to be, not needed to be, but he kind of got humbled after.
That's what I was trying to get
He
at.
was
is
like,
that
his-
lull, I think, made him a better player.
He blew up too fast, is what he was saying, which, it's a convenient excuse, whatever. Not making an excuse, but, he blew up too fast and didn't handle it well. I think that's the best way of putting it without trying to make it sound like an excuse. He rose to superstardom at 22 years old. He was this playoff hero, and then it kind of got to his head, and the last couple of years, the position change on top of that, and he just kind of crumbled. I think he's way more comfortable at second base. He has, 7 defensive runs saved already, maybe more since the last time that I looked at it. He's playing damn good defense. He's hitting the ball well. He's doing a lot of the little things. Like you said, he's hustling again. You're not seeing Judge having to pull him to the side like, hey, man, let's fucking get it together. These aren't recurring themes like they were in years past. So, I don't know.
No, I agree. I think he's always been that 22-year-old phenom who's number one prospect in baseball, comes up, immediately plays well, and he's clutch. He was always he's been clutch since he entered the league. That's never changed even in his bad years, but he's always been that clutch guy, and that goes to your head, and then you start not hustling, and then you become like a lot of comparisons were thrown to him and like Robbie Cano because he's the second baseman. He's not hustling. He's clutch, and he's a good, pure hitter. And it's just like, I don't know. I do think having a couple bad years in there, 1.5 because of the shortened season, like really maybe. It's the mental side of things. Baseball is it's a mental game, and you need to have mental fortitude to be good in this league. And I obviously he's got a lot of years left in front of him, and he's got an entire 2/3 of a year to finish out here and be good. But I think I've seen enough that I can say that confidently that I think that Gleyber is back, and I think
Aaron Judge
here to
deserves
stay.
some credit on this because he's a guy that pulled him aside time after time after time and really got on his case. And I think that kind of humbled him when you have the leader, the kind of quiet leader of this team, especially in, and I say darker days, relatively speaking. Like last year with such high expectations, they did not play well the entire year. Outside of that 13-game win streak, they were not a good team. And we saw it in the playoffs. They lost the wild card game. 2021 was a bad year. And, say what you want, we're spoiled, whatever. It was a bad year. It just was. That's relative to expectations, it was not good. And you see Aaron Judge pulling him to the side in years like this, like, dude, you got to get your shit together. You are one of the people that they're building this team around. You have got to pull your head out of your ass. And I think that finally resonated with him. And I think that, I don't know. I think Aaron Judge has a lot to play in Gleyber Torres' success, and we'll never know about it, and we'll never see it, and I'm totally just speculating. But when Gleyber was down, he was playing like shit. He was making bonehead errors at short, at second, doing everything, seemingly lazy or wrong from just all these stupid fucking things. Who's the one guy that's always sitting next to him in the dugout talking to him? Aaron Judge, for years now. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think a little bit of credit to him
on the team. Yeah, Aaron Judge is that. He's the
More
captain
reason to
that
extend
we're
him.
yeah.
But tomorrow's his arbitration day, isn't it?
I don't know. I haven't even.
That's the hearings.
Is it?
I think so.
I haven't heard anything about
I
it.
haven't either.
Maybe I'll have an extension by tomorrow by the time people are listening to this episode. But yeah, can't say enough about it. I hope we're not sitting here in October and he's just regressed
He's
completely.
benched.
But I don't think that I think really I've seen enough that he has the confidence back. I'd be blown away if he regresses back to 2021 Gleyber, and it's so fun because having him back is having a ridiculous bona fide stud on the team. We were talking who would you build a team around for the next 10 years, Gleyber Torres or Aaron Judge? And all of us, I think across the board, picked Gleyber Torres over Aaron Judge because of how young he is and the health too. Because the potential health issues that Judge at the time was facing, obviously he hasn't, knock on wood, he hasn't been hurt since, and I think we've debunked that he's injury prone. I think just it's fun to have that conversation again. I still, obviously, the year that Judge is having, the player that Judge is, and the lack of injuries, I think if we had that conversation again, we would build the team obviously around Aaron Judge, and I think that's what they're going to be doing. Hopefully, if they extend him by tomorrow when you guys listen to this episode. But it is fun that a cornerstone player, and I think I can use that word. I think he's back to being a cornerstone of this team. Is that fair to say?
I would say so.
Mm-hmm.